Welcome to this IELTS Listening Practice Test, brought to you by Spinta, your partner in English exam success. This test simulates the real IELTS listening experience with authentic question types, timing, and difficulty levels you'll encounter on exam day. You'll hear the audio only once, just like in the actual test, so stay focused and keep your pencil ready. Remember to read the questions carefully during the preparation time and transfer your answers accurately. This practice will help you build confidence, improve your listening skills, and familiarize yourself with the IELTS format.
Part 1. Now look at Part 1. You will hear a man calling a cleaning company to make an inquiry. You will now have some time to look at the questions.
Good morning, Sparkle Clean. Chloe speaking. How can I help you?
Hello, yes, I'm interested in booking a one-off cleaning service for my house.
Certainly we can help with that. Could I take your name for the booking form, please?
Yes, it's Benjamin Carter.
Carter, is that C-A-R-T-E-R?
That's it.
Thank you, Benjamin. And could I have the address?
It's 42 Ashworth Road.
Ashworth. Got it. And to give you an accurate quote, could you tell me how many bedrooms the house has?
It's a 3-bedroom house.
Okay. And were you looking for a standard clean or our more thorough, deep clean service?
We're moving out, so I think we'll need the deep clean, please.
A deep clean. And are there any particular areas you'd like us to pay special attention to?
Yes, the kitchen cupboards could really do with a good clean out inside.
No problem, we can definitely do that. Focus on kitchen cupboards. Okay, so how does the pricing work?
Our rate is £35 per hour. We estimate a deep clean for a house your size would take around 4 hours.
£35 an hour, I see. And do I need to provide any cleaning supplies?
No, not at all. Our team brings all their own professional-grade cleaning products. It's all included in the price.
That's good to know. And what's your policy if I need to change the date?
We just ask for at least 24 hours notice for a cancellation or to reschedule. Anything less than that, and there's a small fee.
A 24-hour cancellation notice. Okay. Do you have any special offers at the moment?
We do. For anyone who books a one-off clean, we offer a 20% discount if they then sign up for a regular weekly or fortnightly service.
A discount for a regular service. I'll bear that in mind. And what's the best way for me to make the booking?
The easiest way is to go to our website and fill out the online form. You can select the date and time that suits you best there.
The online form. Great. Thank you very much for your help.
Part 2. Now look at Part 2. You will hear a tour guide giving a talk about a historic house. You will now have some time to look at the questions.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Blackwood Manor. My name is Eleanor, and I'll be your guide today. Before we begin our tour of the ground floor, let me give you a little orientation. You should all have a plan of the layout. We are currently standing at the main entrance. As we step inside, the large room in front of us is the Great Hall, which contains a magnificent collection of antique weaponry. We call it the Armory. To the left of the Great Hall, you'll see a smaller, cozier room on your plans. This was the original gentleman's study, and it now houses the owner's extensive collection of first edition books. Now, as we walk through the Great Hall, you'll see two large doorways on the right-hand side. The first door you come to leads into what was the original dining room of the house. It's a vast space, which is why it now serves as our magnificent ballroom. The next door along on the right leads into the portrait gallery, which we now use as our music room, due to its excellent acoustics. We often hold concerts in there. Finally, at the back of the house, you'll find the old kitchen, and just next to that, our lovely gift shop, which is now also our tea room, where you can get refreshments after your tour. Now for a little history. Blackwood Manor is one of the finest examples of Tudor architecture in the country. The original house was built in the 16th century, though there have been many additions over the years. We ask that you help us preserve this beautiful house by following a few simple rules. The most important of these is that you do not touch any of the objects on display. The natural oils on our skin can cause serious damage to these delicate antiques over time. We have a wonderful special exhibition on this month. It's a collection of letters written by Lady Annabel, one of the most famous residents of the house. They provide a fascinating insight into her life. Speaking of Lady Annabel, when we are in the portrait gallery, you must look out for her portrait. It's a very famous painting, not because of the artist, but because it is said to contain a hidden message within the patterns on her dress. See if you can spot it. Once our tour of the house is complete, I do hope you will take the time to explore the gardens. They are truly spectacular at this time of year and are included in your ticket price. Right? Shall we begin? If you'd like to follow me through to the Great Hall.
Part 3. Now look at Part 3. You will hear two geography students, Sophie and Liam, discussing their fieldwork project with their tutor, Dr. Ashford. You will now have some time to look at the questions.
Okay, Sophie, Liam, let's discuss your fieldwork report on coastal erosion. Tell me about your data collection. How did it go?
Overall, it was good, but we had a few issues. Let's start with the beach profiling. We managed to do it, but the tide came in much faster than we expected, so we had to rush the last few measurements. The external factors really affected the results, I think.
I agree. And the sediment analysis. We collected the samples easily enough, but taking them back to the lab and sieving them all took an entire day. It was far more time-consuming than we'd anticipated.
It often is. And your wave counting?
That was tricky. We got the numbers, but when we tried to relate them to the different types of waves, constructive versus destructive, we found the data was difficult to interpret. It wasn't as clear-cut as the textbook suggested.
Then there was the questionnaire we gave to people on the beach. We got some really interesting responses, but the results were unexpected. We thought people would be very concerned about erosion, but most weren't even aware it was happening.
That in itself is a significant finding. And the last method?
The historical map analysis. We did this in the local records office. It was fascinating. But climbing up the ladders to get the huge, heavy map books down from the top shelves, well, it was physically difficult, to be honest.
I can imagine. So let's just remind ourselves of your primary objective.
Our main aim was to measure the rate of coastal erosion at Seacliff Bay over the last 50 years.
Good. And you mentioned the questionnaire results were surprising.
They really were. The most striking thing was how local residents were unaware of the erosion problem. We'd assumed it would be their biggest concern, but it wasn't on their radar at all.
Now, looking at your project as a whole, what would you say is its biggest flaw?
I think it's that we only collected data on one day. To get a true picture of coastal processes, you need to collect data over a much longer period. So the short timescale of the study is a major limitation.
I would agree. It's a snapshot, not a long-term study. How could you improve your data analysis section?
Well, we have our measurements from the maps. We could strengthen that section by comparing our results with official data from the Environment Agency. That would validate our findings.
An excellent idea. That would add real weight to your conclusions. So you have your data and your analysis. What's the very next step?
I think we're ready to start writing the report itself. The first task should be to draft the introduction, setting out our aims and objectives clearly.
Perfect. Get started on that and send me the draft next week.
Part 4. Now look at Part 4. You will hear a university lecture on the topic of biomimicry. You will now have some time to look at the questions.
Good morning. Today we're going to explore a field that sits at the fascinating intersection of biology and engineering. This field is called biomimicry. The word literally means to imitate life, and that's a perfect summary of what it is. Biomimicry is a new science that studies nature's best ideas and then imitates these designs and processes to solve human problems. The core principle is that nature, through billions of years of evolution, has already solved many of the challenges we face. The central aim, therefore, is to solve our own problems by imitating the successful strategies we see in the natural world. This approach can be applied at 3 distinct levels. The first level is imitating natural form, or shape. The second is imitating a natural process, or how something is made. And the third, most complex level is imitating a natural system. Let's look at some examples. A classic case of copying form is the invention of Velcro. The inventor was inspired after a walk in the countryside when he noticed how plant burrs stuck to his dog's fur. He examined them under a microscope and saw they were covered in tiny hooks, which allowed them to attach to loops in the fabric of his trousers. He copied that hook and loop design, and Velcro was born. Now, an example of imitating a process. When Japan's high-speed bullet trains were first developed, they created a loud sonic boom every time they exited a tunnel. Engineers were struggling to solve this problem. One of the lead engineers, who was also a keen birdwatcher, noticed that the kingfisher bird dives into water with very little splash. He realized this was because of the incredibly streamlined shape of its beak. They redesigned the front of the train by imitating the kingfisher's beak. This not only solved the noise problem by reducing the change in air pressure, but it also made the train faster and more energy efficient. Finally, let's look at system-level biomimicry. An incredible example is an office building in Zimbabwe. The entire building's ventilation system is based on the design of a termite mound. Termites keep the internal temperature of their mounds remarkably constant, by constantly opening and closing vents, creating convection currents. The architects studied this and designed a building that uses a similar system of passive cooling. The result is that the building stays cool without any conventional air conditioning, using a fraction of the energy of a similar-sized building. So biomimicry holds huge potential. However, it's not without challenges. One of the main difficulties is that nature's technologies often use complex living materials that are very hard for us to manufacture on a large scale. But despite these challenges, biomimicry offers a profound shift in how we view our place on the planet. It encourages us to see nature not as a resource to be exploited, but as a mentor to be learned from. It promotes a more sustainable and regenerative relationship with the natural world, which is perhaps its most important contribution of all.
And pencils down. You've survived another IELTS listening marathon. If your brain feels like it just ran a mental obstacle course, congratulations. That means you're doing it right. Want to torture yourself with more tests? We mean enhance your skills? Head to Spinta.org, that's Spinta.org, where we've got reading, writing, speaking practice, and vocabulary games that are actually fun. Yes, fun and IELTS in the same sentence. We're rebels like that. Thanks for listening with Spinta. Now go treat yourself to something nice. You've earned it. Spinta. Push forward. Achieve more.